Did your father and your brothers tease you about your appearance as an adolescent?
My father did, and some cousins did.
What did your father say?
He would tease me about how I looked, and he would say, well, you didn't get it from my side of the family. It must have been Kate, Kate, he would always say, meaning my mother. You didn't get that from me. I feel like saying, thanks for making me feel better, I would just go to the bedroom and cry,
Is it true that your father used to say you had a fat nose?
Yeah.
What did he say? What did he actually say?
God, your nose is big. You didn't get it from me.
What does that do to someone who's going through adolescence?
You want to die. You want to die. And on top of it, you got to go on stage in the spotlight in front of hundreds of thousands of people and just, God, it's hard. I would have been happier wearing a mask.
So had these adolescent experiences in the spotlight led Michael Jackson to remake his face, to create his own mask?
I don't think how much he hurt me with his love, but he's a genius. The man is a genius. At the same time, he was a genius. He really is.
But Michael, he injured you when you were a child.
Yeah, but look what came out of it.
Well,
maybe I wouldn't have the affection for the kids that I have today and wanting to help them.
Do you ever look back and contemplate, my goodness, Thriller is the biggest selling musical performance ever? Do you ever get your arms around that?
I think about it sometimes, but I try not to think about it too hard because I don't want my subconscious mind to think, like, I've done it all, you're done now, and no, there's so much. That's why I don't put awards or trophies in my house. You won't find a gold record anywhere in my house because it makes you feel you've accomplished. Like, look what I've done. But I always want to feel, no, I haven't done it yet. Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to...
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is.
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it. Okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller. Around Off the Wall, Thriller. Sometime
and what did you think? I mean,
It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad. I don't want to go into my medical history because that's something that's private. But that's the situation here. So please, when people see something like that...
I just want to get this straight. Yeah. You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin?
Oh, God, no.
You did not purposely...
We're trying to control it, and using makeup evens it out because it makes blotches on the skin, and I have to even out my skin. But you know what's funny? Why is that so important? You know, that's not important to me. I'm a great fan of art. I love Michelangelo. If I had a chance to talk to him or read about him, I would want to know about what inspired him to become who he is, the anatomy of his craftsmanship, not about who he went out with last night or why he decided to sit out in the sun so long. What's wrong with, I mean, that's what's important to me.
How much plastic surgery have you had?
Very, very little. I was putting on cream to make myself lighter. That's not true. I have vitiligo.
You have a condition.
Vitiligo is a medical condition that Jackson claims has afflicted him for more than 20 years. This disfiguring skin disease affects nearly 2% of the world's population and strips all pigmentation from the skin. The result is not just pale, but porcelain white.
In the beginnings of the vitiligo started happening relatively early. You know, he even was trying to hide it from me. He tried to hide it for quite a while. You know, we'd always try to cover with makeup and even out his skin tone and everything until it just got so extensive. I mean, it's all over his body. We were always trying to hide it and cover it for the longest time until he just had to tell Oprah and tell the world, listen, I'm not trying to be white. I have a skin disease.
The loss of pigment exposes vitiligo sufferers to great risk of skin cancer, requiring constant shade from the sun and thick makeup or sunblock to lessen the exposure.
You know, in the beginning, I tried to cover the light spots to the darkest part of his skin, but then it became so extensive that we had to go with the lighter part of his skin because his whole body was reacting. He'd have to be in complete, full body makeup every inch of his body. You know, so it was easier to make the transition to him being to the lighter shade that he...
January 27, 1984. Michael was shooting a commercial that attempted to duplicate a concert performance.
He was so badly burnt on the top of the top of his head caught fire right in front of my eyes, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't get to him on time. But Miko, Marlon Brando's son, was able to push away the barricades and jump on him and put out the fire with his bare hands.
He will have nursing and medical personnel on call 24 hours a day. Due to his very excellent health and his very strong personal and religious commitments, he will have as excellent a recovery as is possible.
Michael was rushed to the hospital, where he was treated for second and third degree burns. He later underwent skin graft surgery in an attempt to repair the damage.
God knows in my heart how much I adore children.
But isn't that precisely the problem, that when you actually invite children into your bed, you never know what's going to happen?
But when you say bed, you're thinking sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual. But we're going to sleep. I tuck them in. I put a little music on, into a little story time. I read a book. It's very sweet. Put the fireplace on. Give them hot milk. You know, we have little cookies. It's very charming. Very sweet.
Sure.
It's what the whole world should do. People don't eat with their fathers anymore. Or their mothers. The family bond has been broken. It's an outcry for attention why kids are going to school with guns. They want love. They want to be touched. They want to be held. But they're busy off on their day job, and you know, they leave them at home on the computer, and they're just doing all kind of crazy stuff, and that's destroying our world. We need to bond again. It's very important, Martin.
Why does it mean so much to you?
I'm just very sensitive to their pain, and I'm very sensitive to the family, the human condition, you know, on that subject. It means a lot to me, and I want to help, do whatever I can to help that, you know. And it's, like I said before, and I said a million times, I'm not afraid to say it. If there were no children on this earth, if somebody announced all kids are dead, I would jump off the balcony immediately. I'm done.
Michael Jackson's home, Neverland, is a 3,000-acre ranch 3 hours north of Los Angeles. As with most of his life, it has to be seen to be believed.